Let's talk about why your manifestation is taking so long. This is actually a really important subject to talk about because it's often overlooked in typical law of attraction teachings and movies like The Secret. There isn't enough discussion on why we don't get the things we want or why they seem very delayed in our reality. Now, I used to struggle with this a lot because, I don't know about you, I'm somebody that is quite impatient with these things and definitely wants what I want when I want it. I want it yesterday. I think we all do. And it can be very painful to hold this clear, compelling vision, to feel things as if they're here now, and to almost feel it like tangibly in our body that it's coming to us. Yet it just doesn't show up in physical reality. So what's really going on there? Well, here's my answer to this, and I'm going to preface this by saying you may not like the answer at first. It may not be something that you want to lean into much, but it's truthful, and we're getting into a no-hype, truthful relationship with these kinds of questions, because that's really where your power is. That's how you really align with your powerful ability to create what you want in your life. You can't BS yourself. You can't deceive yourself in order to get there. So the first thing we want to clarify is, why do you want what you want? Where is it coming from? So if you're trying to pop more money into your reality, or a better lover, more friends, better fitness, whatever the typical kind of vision is for your life, why do you want those things? And where is that desire coming from? This is always the starting point when you look at why you're not getting what you want in physical reality, is why do you want it? And even more importantly, a more targeted question is, do you know yourself well enough to know what you really want? Now, most of us think that we do. We think that we are very clear. Oh, I want this. I'm very clear that this is my deep, heartfelt desire. And I know that this would make my life better. It would make me happier. It would lead to more fulfillment, whatever it is. The thing is, though, most human beings are bound up by what I call corrupted files in their internal operating system. This means that they have distortions in their way of seeing reality that are based on fear, doubt, limiting beliefs, second-guessing themselves, inner conflict, and really it's about being attached to a separate, solid sense of self that doesn't actually exist. So if your desires are springing up from this false self, you're going to see that what you attract or create in your reality feels quite random. It's all over the place. Sometimes you get what you want, a lot of the times you don't. Sometimes it seems like you sort of do, but it's just very mixed results. And this is the most common pitfall, you could say, on this path. And it's not, like I said, it's not talked about much at all, but this is really getting into the essence of why we get what we want or why we don't get it. Number one, you have to know yourself on a deep level. And that means having the ability to live in your essence, having the ability to sink into your true identity that is free from distortion in your way of seeing. It's more or less free from the corrupted files in your operating system that are pulling you in all kinds of directions, and that pop in desires that are really not that authentic to who you are. And once again, the way I see this is it's all by design. It's a very clever disguise that makes life interesting. It's part of our unique story that we tend to get pulled in all kinds of directions with our desires. And sometimes we get them, sometimes we don't. But all of it is really just interesting story material. So that's the first thing that you want to lean into is, how well do I actually know myself? To what degree am I living in my essence right now? And usually, I would say like almost universally, it's the case that if you're truly living in your essence, there's this innate feeling of abundance right now. There's this innate feeling of wholeness. There's an innate feeling of happiness, like nothing is truly missing in your reality right now. And the thing that you want isn't actually going to make you happier. It's not actually going to do what you think it's going to do in terms of your overall happiness and fulfillment. That's all derived from your internal way of seeing yourself, which is if you're living in your essence, you're already whole. You're an infinite being having a human experience. So where is the frustration of not getting what you want coming from? Can you see how there's an attachment there that is causing you to suffer? So all of this, to me, like if there's frustration and attachment, it's a sign of having corrupted files in your operating system that are pulling you out of your true nature. The second thing that you want to really look at in terms of why is my manifestation not showing up in the way that I want, is that when this happens, when there's a delay or it's taking a really long time, inevitably what it's doing is forcing to the surface all of these corrupted files. So when you just get what you want and it's easy and it happens fast, well, there's no real opportunity to reclaim your spiritual and emotional power. And that's a huge part of the human game or the human journey that we're all living out. We came here as infinite beings to play this fun game of pretending like we're limited for this short lifespan that we have. And in order to reclaim our power and get aligned with the truth of who we are, we have to, in a sense, confront or do battle with all of these corrupted files that are based in fear, doubt, lack, limiting beliefs, neediness, scarcity thinking, all of it. And when you start getting into the manifestation game, you're putting out these desires and you're feeling them as if they're here now. But when they don't come like boomerang back to you in physical reality, they're not showing up, what that's doing is giving you the opportunity to come face to face with your fear, your doubt, your skepticism, your limiting beliefs in a way that you just cannot access in any other way. So if you're putting it out there like, I want more money, I want a better relationship, I want more love, I want better fitness, but it's not showing up in the way that you want, you're going to notice that there's friction in the mind. There's resistance, there's frustration, there's second guessing yourself, doubt, fear, right? So in a way, the contrast, the lack of getting what you want, is forcing to the surface all the weeds in your garden. So you can look at those things clearly in the light of conscious awareness, and that's the only way you can clear them. That's the only way you can liberate your inner demon, so to speak, or the limiting beliefs or vices you're holding on to, is to see them with total clarity in conscious awareness. And the way that you do that is to throw it out to the universe. This is what would make me, this is what I'm all about. This is what I want. These are my desires. You feel those things happening as if they're here now. And then you allow life to shape itself into whatever is needed to make for an interesting story in your life. Sometimes that means getting what you want quickly. Sometimes it means throwing it out there from the bottom of your heart and you feel very sincere about it and you can feel it already being here and it doesn't show up. That's what actually makes for a more interesting story. And the reason it's interesting, once again, is it's helping you to support the reclaiming of power, the reclaiming of alignment with the truth, by getting into a truthful relationship with fear, doubt, skepticism, cynicism, all of the limiting stories that your brain is going to pump out when you don't get what you want. So clearing those corrupted files is a far, far, far more important factor for your happiness in life than getting what you think you want. And I know that can sound even sort of irritating to hear because it's like, dude, just tell me how to get what I want. Why is it not showing up? But the thing is I am telling you, you have to do battle with, in a sense, or confront your deepest layers of these files, these limiting beliefs, these weeds in your garden, so you can live an unblocked life, so you can live in alignment with the truth of who you really are, an infinite being having a human experience. So the more you go down this path of reclaiming power, of clearing corrupted files, cleansing the lens you see life through of this distortion or limitation, what happens is there are no longer any obstacles or vices or fetters internally that will block you. You become unstoppable. You become aligned. You're living in flow state. And that is ultimately what all of us want in our heart of hearts. It's for our inner world to feel like it's coming from a state of flow. to feel relaxed in our own skin, to feel like we're just living in clarity and ease. That is the core desire for all humans, by and large, is to be deeply connected with ourselves and to live in our essence. Getting stuff sometimes supports that story, and sometimes it doesn't. And a lot of the times, not getting what we want is the best way to pressurize your internal reality to clear out all the BS, all the distortions. Does this make sense? So this is the kind of game we're playing. It's not always about getting what you want. It's very much about owning what you want and like having faith in it and seeing yourself as an infinite being that is worthy of having anything. But from there, it's like, let it go and don't be attached to the outcomes and trust the process that life is shaping itself into for you. It's all making for an interesting story. And the irony, of course, is the less attached you are to getting what you want, the more likely it is to show up. The more attached you are, the more pain and suffering you feel around not getting the things you want, the less likely those things are to show up, because what it's doing is pressurizing your internal state of being so that you can become highly aware of how you layer limits over your reality, of how your mind is working against you and telling stories that don't ultimately serve you. So if you're willing to play that game, if you're willing to go there, it's extremely powerful. But not everybody is, because it's really a big kind of a big deal on the spiritual path, which is, how much do I trust life? How willing am I to clear out these limiting beliefs and distortions in my way of seeing? How open am I to possibility, and even more so to the unknown, to uncertainty? To really get masterful at manifestation and creating what you want, it's entirely based on hanging out in uncertainty and recognizing that your agenda, your need to control, has nothing at all to do with getting what you want in life or how life is shaping itself for your unique experience. So most people, quite honestly, aren't willing to go there. They're not willing to face their demons in that way or to hang out in the unknown. And that's, once again, the highest level of game you can play as a human, is you know you're not in control. You know that there's an intelligence shaping your experience behind the scenes. And there's a deeper level of trust unfolding that whatever shows up in your reality is always what's meant to be there. It can never get off track. And it's intelligent. And if you resist what pops in, you're not getting what you want. It's taking forever. That has nothing to do with what the universe is giving you and its intelligence. It has everything to do with these corrupted files in your way of seeing and distortions and limiting beliefs. So we want to get you to a place where playing the manifestation game is a win-win scenario. However you go about it, it's helpful, it's advantageous, even if you don't get the things you want sometimes. It's training you to be unattached to outcomes, to let go of skepticism and cynicism, to let go of negative thinking, and to anchor in deeper levels of trust until you get so aligned into the truth of who you really are that there isn't even a false self in there that needs to trust anymore. You're just aligned more and more with this infinite intelligence, and you trust what shows up in your life. So once again, the irony is the more you do that, and you're tapped into your true desires, your core desires, those things start to show up with greater ease, greater efficiency as you're clearing these blocks, as the corrupted files are being purged from your operating system. Let me know if you have questions about this below. This is a big topic. It's a juicy topic. There's a lot to explore here for all of us. And I'm going to be doing a fair amount of that on this channel because, once again, I see that this is kind of the missing link for a lot of us. We are taught to focus on what we want, to identify with it already being here, but we're not really taught how to deal with it if it doesn't come, and what that means, and how to sever that tie of attachment that keeps us bound in limitation and suffering. So be sure to subscribe to the channel if you want more content like this. Leave me a comment under the video, throw it a quick like if you don't mind, and I will see you in the next video.